Hello, everybody. Big Chonis here, coming to you guys live. It's Saturday, where I am in this world, checking out Bitcoin price action here. Kind of an interesting day. We had, a little dip here where we actually retested a range of previous resistance. And I had a pretty decent bounce intraday here. I'll go to the 1 hour chart, kind of bring it down a little bit. And we can see that that bounce brought us from about 15.7 all the way up to 16.150. And where we got rejected so far is the underside, frankly, of a very interesting area where we did find initial resistance. We're able to use it as support on numerous occasions. And then we basically were able to back test that. And so far, a pretty decent rejection, off that back test there. Now we are still holding the higher low from the earlier in the day bounce. But on weekend price action here, the stock market, the NASDAQ especially, closed so bullishly. S&P Russell, on Friday, that you were thinking there would kind of be some, that bullish continuation heading into the weekend. And so far, we're actually seeing this kind of slow and steady bleed out here. Now, I'm not saying that all is lost for sure. We're still hovering around $16,000 Bitcoin here. Okay, but let's take a look at the kind of the larger pattern all around. Let's go to the 4 hour here. And I'm looking at, this is my EMA 12 and 26 spread, and look how we have been in this bull cross. I mean, we tested it here a couple times, but we never broke cross. Even though we put closing candles below, we never broke the actual ribbon. And it wasn't really till way back here in October. Even here, we really didn't break the ribbon. We're super tight. Last time we actually had like a bearish cross on our 12 and 26 was like the beginning of October when Bitcoin was at 10.5. So riding this up all the way. And now we're holding support here, and we're doing this kind of sideways price action, and our EMAs are tightening. The 1 hour, we have had crosses. The 4 hour and the 6 hour still show the most bullish in terms of the spread of our EMAs here. You can kind of see that right there, where, as long as this keeps the spread holding, the bulls do have that control. And even every time we were tested here and tested here, okay, we never lost it, So until we lose that, okay, and that would take significant price action once again below these EMAs of support, and we have not seen that at all. Every time we get down there, we wake up. 12 hour will obviously show more bullish because we're at a higher time frame here. Okay, here we haven't even tested the EMA 26. Okay, a couple times here, got close, but no cigar. And we haven't never even broken closing candle below the EMA 12 since looks like right here, like the first of the month, second of the month here. Okay, so all these supports are holding while Bitcoin is consolidating, and because the ramp up was so extreme, we have this running room here. So my point through all this is, how do you conclude when a topping pattern becomes more apparent? And we have such running room here, even on the daily here. 15.5, it would be our first touch, of our EMA 12. 14.3 is our first touch of our EMA 26 here. Okay, and the spread, I did talk about this on the last show we did. We have similarities, a greater spread to here, similarities to our 2019 bull market in terms of the distance between our 12 and 26 of our EMAs, congruent to the topping pattern there. Of course, nothing really corresponds to our big monster here, which was our all-time high topping pattern here, where our EMAs were tremendously separated here. Look how far ahead their blue was to our yellow here. 12, 26, just an insane blow off top here. So this is an extreme on the bullish side. We've seen extremes on the bearish side, of course, but now we are kind of, either early in that one or late in this one. We just don't know yet. We can see that, I'm going to switch it up from the EMAs here. Okay, just a quick Bollinger span here. We can see again, I'm still on the daily chart here. Okay, we're still riding the upper BB, but we are still hitting that resistance on top of it. Haven't closed outside of it for quite a while here. We know that was an area where we were able to do bullishly and got the rejection initially. Bands are still very wide. Okay, there's no tightening. Nice tightening here. We haven't lost our middle Bollinger for quite some time. Okay, early October. And this volume cluster has been pretty epic all the way through here. So consolidating here isn't the worst thing. And the fact that we have such running room to consolidate and still maintain the overall bullish structure gives us time and price, basically time and price. And what would quantify, that kind of breakdown of the bullish structure? And for now, anything over, let's call it 14K, is all good, right? We talked about this in the last one. We had the strong resistances here at 12.4. We had the strong resistances here at 10.5 or 10.2 to 10.5, kind of in this area here. Okay, break through that, test it, retest it, break through that, test it, retest it, break through this. Really haven't had that big major back test of this area, and it would be totally fine to do something like this, and then continue our acceleration. And if anything, that would be even a more stronger pattern here, because it would also still respect the parallel, this kind of very tight parallel, some would argue Livermore channel, that is maintained. And as long as we're holding this channel here, we could even pull this guy down lower, even to our lower channel support, which probably in the future would be somewhere around 13.9 here, and still accelerate as long as we're holding our bullish channel, and that's no problem with that. We can see we're not that far away at this point here from Bitcoin 20K, and you have to ask yourself, what context would happen if we are able to achieve something like that? And the situation is, are we going to see some sort of a strong rejection if we get approaching there? We know we don't have we know that we have very limited history, above, let's just call it, 15, 16K. There's nothing really that stops us from getting as high as that 20K because of the fact that we have really clear air above 17K. The question is, do we kind of see the money and the volume flow into Bitcoin, especially at this time here? Our run up to 20K the last time was so quick and so fierce, and we didn't really need to establish supports all the way up. It was a parabolic move. We knew we weren't able to establish supports all the way up in the 2019 move, that they were failing very quickly because we never really established them on the way up. How strong are these supports? I know we rocket shipped basically from 12,000 all the way up to where we are now, with very limited pullback, very limited, establishment of these supports here. And, who's to say once they could potentially be tested, how strong they could really actually be. I know it's Saturday. I know tomorrow's Sunday. I know the weekly chart ends tomorrow. I don't want to divulge too much into this candle yet. That's because we still have another 24 hours of price action that could really define what kind of candle we end up getting at the end of the week here. So far, nothing that bad. It's green. We got a little wick on top and the bottom. The volume is still pretty solid here. What the bulls don't want to see really is a red candle. If we close, something in the mid to low 15Ks, that's gonna be a really nasty candle. Basically, what we really want to do is close above the highs of last week, and that for now is about 15.9 or so. So that would really be kind of where we want to keep. And if you look where we are right here, we are right there. That's kind of our best bull case scenario, is that close above where we currently are. Kind of finding some resistance right here. That's the weekly. Let's stick on the daily here just because we got tomorrow's show to talk about the weekly there. Okay. Now, remember, for the first time here, we are still putting in this lower high in our on-balance volume here. This is our daily on-balance volume. It's been the most bullish of our indicators and oscillators for quite some time. And that's the situation that we're basically seeing here, is that because we are seeing that bearish divergence, and some may argue that, bearish divergence, well, I actually would argue that bearish divergence is actually more important on the OBV than the RSI, because of how it represents price volume in its indicator there. Anyways, hey guys, Big Chonis here, doing a live show. It's been a while. What's up, SS Swartz 88? It's been a while. What's up, Steven? What's up, Yateen? Hello. Hello to 15 of my closest friends here on this Saturday night. Definitely have to build this back up. Remember to hit that thumbs up button there. Remember to follow me on Twitter as well. I am Big Chonis. If you guys are interested in doing some trading of all this Bitcoin price action here, I've been trading on the BingBon exchange here. I do have my affiliate link on the information on this channel if you want to support this broadcast here. It's funny, the markets seem to kind of be like alts were kind of independently doing their thing, very active on their own right. I think we saw Uni as high as up 30% yesterday, but Bitcoin kind of slowly trickling down here under 16K and really hasn't allowed anything to move much through the day. We're not seeing that follow through across the board of Bitcoin while Bitcoin ranges. Alts are supposed to take off, but we're not really seeing that right now. It's very interesting. This is giving more of a sense maybe that, Bitcoin is now the one to watch here because it's running the show more, and that we're not going to see that bullish divergence into altcoins, which we could expect, which we normally see sometimes when Bitcoin does that ranging, and we've seen altcoins just rocket ship during that price action. We're not seeing that now, and that is definitely very interesting. Are we seeing some sort of an exhaustive pattern here? We are seeing a lower high here in our RSI. Okay, now we are still flagging, and this is the daily chart here. Actually, I wouldn't call that flagging there because we're, but I would start to watch this very closely here. I don't even want to do a descending line there. I think this is it right there. Oops. Well, we can do a horizontal here. Keeping this 69 area there, it's very important. We can see it was resistance. We blasted through it. So we're holding above that resistance turn support here. 69, 68, 67, somewhere here. Okay, we do have running room on the downside if we wanted to test that. That's not a problem here. And again, we're still way over 50, which overall is a very, bullish RSI pattern here. But we do need to note this. And we also have had two taps, okay, above our above 80 here. I've adjusted my RSI. I know the defaults are 70-30. I like to do 80-20. Which makes these breaks above 80 much more meaningful in my opinion, and frankly have marked some topping patterns. Of course, this was our bullishness here. We did this a triple time here, single, 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 and a double tap here. Now, as long as we're kind of holding this bullish pattern, this is like very strong here, okay? But if we start fading, okay, that is a situation where we might see that acceleration on the downside like we saw here in the previous pattern. It's definitely a possibility as we head into the weekend price action, of course. Other than that, chalk and money flow, I did put out a tweet about this here. This is still very strong, but we are, I think it was the weekly that, yeah, we have this kind of descending line here of resistance that we're getting very close to touching one more time. And again, the CMF really, when you're over the zero line, things are doing pretty good. And we are way over the zero line, so we get some running room there. But look at that. Resistance, 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 resistance. Now, these technically haven't marked tops per se. Okay, I think the all-time high was around, where was it? December, right here, 11th, something right there, 7th. Like right here. Okay, so this was our all-time high here. But this was around our highs of 2019 for sure. Okay, so again, running out of room here until we hit this resistance line, if we even get up to it at all. Arguably here, this is 3 very distinct taps right here of resistance, and again, a fourth one very close there if we were able to achieve that as well. Again, I'm back to the weekly there. We do have our Stoke climbing up to our top here. Now, remember, we had a Stoke just topped off for weeks, right? Back here in 2019 when we had our bullish move here. So a toppy Stoke on a weekly doesn't specifically mean that much to me per se, because we know how long we can kind of be up here. But it is something to note that we are at this part of the overall range, and our MACD, moving average convergence, basically still putting in those bullish, again on the weekly chart here, bullish Hiscos, decent spread here in our indicators here. And of course, obviously, you could argue maybe this is a breakout here of support, term resistance, back tested, kind of breaking out here too. But either way, it's still holding the overall lower high until we can get something, more or less above this next level here, and see, if we can at least put in a higher move here than our previous area, which again marked the top. So we have a top here, we have a top here, and then we're once again getting up here. But remember, this thing, the overall bear cross, this is a very lagging indicator, obviously here. What you want to look for is the maximum point of spread, the extreme of the spread, which tends to basically signal that a top is near. This one fell very quickly after putting in a higher high. This one had a double top here. Move that up there to see that little hump. So who's to say what to look for, especially on this one here, except the fact that our histogram, it's a lot weaker over here. Now, it could be early. This is true. It could definitely be early, and we might just be at the beginning of something like this, right? Definitely possible. That's the most bullish scenario. But for now, compared to our past two mountain chains here, this one is not, not very impressive as of yet. To be determined. So let's zoom out here. Once again, guys, big Chonis here. And we have a request. J Constant, ONT BTC. Sure. Not a problem. Yeah, I guess if you guys have any altcoin requests, I guess I can check some stuff out for you if you like. Alts, I'm sure I have ONT BTC. I'm sure I probably have it here. I haven't looked at this in a while. Look at these. All these alts that are apparently no longer on the old exchanges. At least the ones that I use here for TradingView. So let's go ONT BTC. There it is. Look at that. Oh, look at that. I have some old artwork on this. Wow, look at that. That's great. That is great. All right, so, I mean, it's pretty straightforward. We're down to 300 sats. Okay, we got resistance here at 3,000 sats. Okay, that was our last bastion. Okay, this double resistance here. And now we're just a dead stick into price discovery that's at a lower low. So, sorry to say this, J Constant, but from a ONT BTC standpoint, from a chart standpoint, yikes, basically we're dying here. We have a Stoke that's pancaked, okay, and we have an RSI, frankly, that's nowhere near oversold on a weekly standpoint, although is right here at a double bottom and pretty much needs to hold. We have an OBV that's definitely holding a higher low, and we have a a chalk and money flow that is in the negative here. So that's from a weekly standpoint. We can check out a daily and see if we see anything different, anything maybe more bullish on the daily. I'm on the Binance here. It's probably the best one to be at. So, yeah, a little consolidation here on the $300 or the 300 sats area. Again, we've never been in this area. Okay, so there's no previous history to kind of judge this on, other than we have about a week's worth of support, we can call it, at the 300 sats area. If we were looking at this from just a pure most recent top, oops, that's not what I wanted. If we're looking at this from a pure most recent swing high to, let's just say 279 is the kind of the low there, then I'm looking at, again, your first area of resistance around 413, which would be basically saying that, okay, we're going to hold and bounce from 300 and try and put some sort of a thing in here for some reason, and then that's the case. Otherwise, we're still in basically negative price discovery, where this thing can definitely go pretty lower. And again, here's just the bleed out. We can see that on the OBV. Other than a little support here, I guess that really would be your only kind of historic thing there. And it's hard to say. There's a little price history, or more or less, in this OBV range here, but not a ton. I'd say down here really is more of an OBV area of support, but by then. And again, the daily RSI, nice W here. In a really oversold condition, and we do have an RSI that's slowly rising higher here. So we have a minimal, slightly bullish divergence on the RSI, where we have like a rising RSI, but it could definitely be, hidden bearish divergence at this point, where the RSI is just rising up a little higher, so it has more running room on the downside. But at this point, ONT kind of a lotto. Nicholas wants Cardano. Sure. Take a look at ADA. Computer's a little slow today, isn't it? Okay, ADA BTC. There we go. Let's take a look here. So we'll start on the daily. Again, some old artwork. Oh, look at this. Let's see what we got here. Apparently it was a trade setup of sorts. I guess at this point we probably should just start from scratch. Anything else of interest here? This one I've probably been charting for years. Let me see. I will admit, I did buy, I remember very specifically buying ADA somewhere around here. December of 2017, I was buying ADA around here. I remember selling it like around here, and then it went way up here. But that was long ago in a galaxy far, far away. All right, so this overall, look at this is your daily Binance chart. We had a chance here back in July to put in a higher high. Now, I'm using the Bitcoin, the BTC here, because at this point, it's you need to see that bullish divergence from the altcoin. BTC at 16K, the USD equivalent of altcoins, it's kind of relevant at this point, because there's obviously an uplift from BTC pairing, but if you're not seeing that in the altcoin, then there's no reason that it's kind of like a coin that's in play, bullishly diverging from Bitcoin, and therefore would A, give you a better return on your trade, and B, hold up better if Bitcoin were to fall. So, overall here, we are a stone's throw away basically from price discovery, once again, of ADA from a BTC pairing standpoint. I mean, listen, 409, we're at 613 here. I mean, that's a little more room here, obviously, but the only thing you can really say about it is that we are holding, a higher low, but we even broke down from this kind of, support. If we wanted to hold support, it was kind of right here, and that was a break there again. So nothing very special about this chart yet. We can see our OBV falling. I know our our CMF is below zero, and Yeah, our RSI really hasn't even touched over, just by a hair. It did touch oversold, had that little bit of a bounce there as well. But overall, it's just kind of a shitty chart on the daily. There's nothing about it that's saying it's diverting other from price discovery, other than just continuing to to fall here. Now, yes, ADA does have very nice pumps. We've seen them in the past here. But just from just a pure perspective standpoint here, I mean, look at this thing. This thing is it's just slowly dying. It's just slowly dying, and we're putting in another week of red, bearish divergence here on Bitcoin price action, and our Bollingers are so wide here that the Bollingers are wide, so you have kind of room. Any best case scenario would be, a pump, which would be probably a 50% pump up to almost 900 if we are able to hold this area. And again, we'll be able to find some support if we get down here to these lows. Otherwise, this is really kind of the area you want to hold support here. After having the bounce, after this length of consolidation, I want to turn this resistance, into support. So it's kind of do or die here for ADA. If you were going to do a trade on this, I'd say, you could really have a tight stop right around 600 sats, and maybe kind of establish a position around here. It's kind of be your best case scenario to hold this area. And, this is the weekly here. So if we get some support here and kind of build a few candles here, wouldn't be the worst, long attempt, just to see if we can even just get some sort of a back test at maybe at a minimum, back to 800. And that in itself would be almost a 30% move there. So it's kind of right here, but at least you get kind of a defined, trade set up where more or less 600 would be your stop out on that. And then after that, just kind of run a trailing stop after that. I would actually, ADA USDT, that's where you would see that bullish divergence, show up on the tether pairing of that, on BingBon, where I would do basically a trade on that. So I'd basically be watching the BTC pairing and to see if anything kind of showing up from a bullish standpoint there, and then I would basically could trade that accordingly on the USDT there. So there you go, Nicholas. Hope that gave you something there. Duffy, Dot or Adam. Let's check out here. I know that I know that Dot is also on BingBon. I actually did one of the very first trades on it. It was a quick flipper there. So just overall, I'm going to start with the USDT, and then we'll check out the BTC pairing here. We're beginning to build an area of consolidation here, basically from the mid fours to the low fours, all these wicks here. So we're defining ourselves a nice area of support that really, every dip around 3.9 to 4 even has been bought up and is having some decent accumulation there. So let's check out. I think I have to add this one. Dot BTC. I guess I'll use the Binance. Go. All right, so this is the weekly chart here. Again, we're just kind of in a consolidation zone. I'll give this. I wonder if there's well, I guess it really doesn't matter at this point if there's other histories here. When is this? August? Yeah, that's pretty much it there. So why not, right? Just real quick here. From inception, let's just call it, on Binance to the top here, coming back down. Okay, we're finding the resistance under. We really didn't find that bounce. Actually, it's funny. I bet you right here on the weekly, we actually bounce hard on the golden pocket intra-week. It looks like potentially. I'll check that out. Let's go to the daily. 65. I guess it wasn't much of a bounce. But yeah, so listen, we're kind of consolidating here. The only real price history on the daily is right there. That's a great area. We're just a little above that, and this consolidation area does start, as high as kind of where we are currently finding that support. So this is kind of our only support, really, from a historical standpoint. And frankly, anything in this area, I'd say right at the apex back here of support there is kind of your, if we get a wick down here, that'd probably be a buy, if not in this zone. Otherwise, I'm just going to keep an eye on this this is daily. So let's keep an eye on this for the next few days here. We have the wick resistance, wick resistance, wick resistance. So anything that's a higher low above, let's call it 29,913, that would be interesting to see that kind of establishment in a bullish divergence from, Bitcoin's price action here. But overall, what we're looking at here is the fact that Bitcoin is running the show, and we're not really seeing any alts majorly bullish divergence from it yet. And the way we kind of know this is, let me go back to our Bitcoin master screen here. Bitcoin dominance is still holding up pretty good, 65, consolidating here. Again, we're not seeing money flow into alts too much. And we're seeing Bitcoin slowly bleed a little bit and maintain that divergence there. So overall, it's kind of been like, take a little risk off the table, but as long as Bitcoin is still holding around 16K, nothing crazy yet. Last thing I want to look at is we did close our CME, and that's the thing. It's like I wouldn't expect. It'd be hard to trade this on Sunday night into Monday if we had a bullish gap above the price, especially in the 4-hour. So yeah, as long as we're kind of in this, I guess that would still open a gap up, because really we want to open up around 16.2, and now we're basically a couple $100 below that. So definitely be curious to see where we open up tomorrow night on the CME, and to see if there's a new gap created on the 4-hour. Because you are actually now up here. Because again, there's no open 4-hour gaps on the CME until way down here at 11K, and then the ones below. But who knows when those will be touched, if at all. But we know they're going to be touched, don't we? Yes, we do. Anyways, all right, guys. Big Chonis here, doing a live show. What we do here, 35 minutes. That's good enough. Thank you for hanging out with me tonight. Thanks for the alt request. We'll be doing this more. Hopefully do it, maybe every day. We'll see how it goes. But exciting times these are. Once again, hit that thumbs up button. Follow me on Twitter if you guys are interested in doing some leverage trading. I am trading on BingBon. Very stable platform, doing volatile times. I've been using it for a few months, no complaints. And we'll probably putting out some more, trade setups and stuff. Everything from scalps, shorts, longs, higher time frame, lower time frames, and of course my favorite, the 1-minute chart. Anyways, until next time, soon enough than that. Big Chonis here. Guys, have a great night. Have a good weekend, and we'll talk soon. Peace.